Hello. So this is a bit of an unusual case today. So it's been extremely busy the last few weeks, so the timing has kind of been knocked off quite a bit. So I think, and furthermore, I think I will need to prepare for uh, the future sessions because now we're going back to actual themes instead of just the wildcards. So this case, the theme for next BMP session is hatchbacks in general, and we really wanted to focus on the modern hatchbacks. So what I have right here now is a kind of a older build. This is actually one of the first builds that was featured in a auto beam BMP session. Actually, it was in the very first stream, at least the older version that actually worked. So there were two versions. Well, actually, it may have not been this specific version, but it is of this style. Um, the one featured in that stream was a 310 horsepower all-wheel drive, top of the line hot hatchback. But I think for now we will start with a milder version, like a more standard version, a something closer to maybe 260 to 280 horsepower and front wheel drive, but it'll still come with the very kind of the electronically limited control limited slip differential. So let me sort some things out first before we get started. So this stream will be pretty short. So let's first go over, do a quick overview of what we have in mind. So as mentioned earlier, so the engine, we have a base for the engine, but this is kind of a more standard variant made for kind of more normal cars, so normal compact executive sedans. It also will has appeared in minivans and it would theoretically also appear in a base SUV model or crossover model. It is just a normal. It's just one of the normal 2-liter four cylinders of all time. So it's making actually around 270 horsepower. So, but obviously because as the automation kept getting updated, the mechanics of them, including the engine, kept changing from time to time. But this is the latest version, which came about because of actually another remaster, which was on the minivan, which was there for a forum competition. So yes. So in this case, we have focused on trying to maximize the low end response. So while in this application, the outright power isn't as much of a concern because we believe that 250 horsepower would have been more than enough. Um, but 270 is pretty nice to have, and it didn't actually. The weird thing about the turbo tuning in this is, especially when you start screwing around with the behavior of the turbocharger system, especially with the sizing of the turbine and the compressor, um, you kind of have to. It ends up being a case where you have to balance kind of the responsiveness and also reliability because from what I can tell, the heat is an extremely big issue for turbo engines in this game. And obviously, like in this case, they seem to have smaller housing, be much less reliable just because they aren't great at kind of dealing with heat because they have a smaller area to work with. So yeah. Oh, hello. Um, yeah, I hope you're doing good. Today we're actually working on remastering an older build. Um, so this build start is from around 2 years ago, and this is actually one of the first builds that was featured on a stream. So that version was the top of the line all-wheel drive 310 horsepower variant. But for this one, we will stick with a milder version. This will be a 270 or 280 horsepower, but it can theoretically go up to 300 if okay, because we can have the top version be pushed up to 320 or 330. Um, but we will stick with just a front wheel drive and probably a dual clutch. Yeah, nice. I might look into that later, or but I assume that's an much older build, so I don't know. But the issue with this build is because it's from over 2 years ago. A lot of the mods are been changed or are basically outdated. So, and furthermore, a lot of the construction techniques are used are pretty outdated. So I would need to rejiggle some of that stuff. Um, yeah, honestly, I still think there's just a lot to improve on this build. So, which is why I elected to try and remaster it. It'll be a while just because I don't have a lot of time because of my university study, but you know, doesn't hurt. Um, so I think the first thing I might want to deal with is kind of the morphing, and it is, yeah. I had finished a big part, so I was working on a. So I'm actually a bit of a background. I am in graduate school for electrical engineering, and it's been a very hectic semester so far. So how I hand balance that out is once one day, or rather one night a week, I'll just set aside to do nothing, and that's where the stream comes in. Um, but it's been the problem with that is it works because it's consistent, but it's like it's the issue is one of my classes has been they have 6-day deadlines for their homework. So now it's actually the deadline's eating into the weekends. So I had to work a little extra to fit that in. Furthermore, I also had another class that threw a major curveball in some of the program assignments I was assigned, especially with the optimization problem that came up. So it's been a messy week, but I finished most of it, so I think I'll be in good shape by Sunday. Yeah, if you send a link or something about that, how do you get automation car? How do you get an automation car on the repository? Um, I'm assuming it's kind of a simpler version of an actual mod, but what standards do they have? Have these standards changed over time? Or at least also, yeah, maybe at the end we can showcase driving it, but what's the name of it? That would also be nice to know. So back to this build. First of all, the first thing I want to change is I think I wanted to change some of the warframes, and if you look from the side view, it is a little. I think it's a little awkward. I know I kind of recognize that. I believe it has always been an issue with this body, where it is a very very flat body, especially on the rear. But so it's kind of quite slab-sided. Kind of the story behind this is it is based off a Tesla and a Mazda 6 or something smashed together. So it's a oh okay. Thanks. Yeah, that'll be appreciated. So yeah, first of all, it is quite flat and it is a little sleeker. Seems a little too push forwards, and I think the belt line on this is a little high, but I'm not sure how I would deal with that specifically. So, see, I might let me tweak the morphing a little bit. It's gonna be a little painful because it's gonna wreck the fixtures, but it doesn't quite matter as we're gonna probably toss out a major chunk. Yeah, I'll look into that when maybe at the end of the stream we can fire up the BeamNG and I'll look into that. Maybe bring back some memories for you. Um, anyways, yeah. How has your week been so far? I mean, I told you all about my week, but maybe you should turn the topic to your week. Um, so yeah, anything? Do you have any plans this weekend? Like, we have like usually we have I think we have another one of our big home football games like tomorrow. So yeah, also assuming you're also in university. Um, okay, so you just started. Okay. Well, like my experience in that, I'm assuming if you're an undergraduate, um, my experience from that is, man, that's like a massive change, especially if you're going from the high school. It was, I remember back when I did it, maybe four years ago, it was quite interesting. But I do come to believe that if you kind of learn these experiences correctly, it is kind of another kind of a rite of passage in terms of that. So even if it doesn't work out, I hope the experiences are very valuable. Do you know what major you're in, or are you like undecided, or or if you're undecided, is there somewhere you're interested in? Ah, okay. So is this more of like a vocational school? Don't remember this being that slow. Hmm, it's a little awkward. Okay, so okay, because if it's so, is this more towards like engineering, or is it like it's a little I might be a little confused. Oh, I broke it, didn't I? No. Wow, this is being very cooperative, isn't it? Oh gosh. Okay, yeah. The reason I asked whether it was vocational is at least here, stuff with like, oh, so is this more like, because usually when I think of mechanics, usually we would be thinking of like a vocational school, where you kind of would be focused on training. Oh, please don't do this. But it seems like this is more into like the manufacturing side. So this could be like a special. This is this like a specialized program of some sort? Hmm, so low awkward. This up a bit. Oh, all right, locked it. That's probably why. Oh, it's 2D. Interesting. Yeah. Also on that regard, actually here we have a welding engineer program, which is part of our College of Engineering. So that's maybe the analogy I could think of. And actually, it's kind of really interesting. Oh, okay. So I'd say that's okay. So it's one of these tech firms. Okay, so I think that is. I guess that's what I was thinking about when I said closer to the vocational side. But it's still good that you're kind of finding that skill to work on. And so I'm not sure how it works just because I'm not familiar with these programs in general. But what I can say is I wish you good luck on it, because I can I say that we need you? I mean, I keep hearing people say there's shortage of in some areas. So, but I've also some people it's kind of interesting to see that multiple people I know have gone into the program, to the car mechanics program, and such. Um, and I distinctly remember one friend who got into it after realizing game design wasn't for him. So I thought that was a interesting contrast. I'm assuming you've also had some previous experience in the area. Um, in that sense, how does your program does your program offer like an internship program or co-op for students like you to apply like the reward get the reward experience? Oops. Well, it's not. Oh, please. Oh, this is still a little flat. I really want to make this slightly taller. We'll see. It is. I think it's a little squash, but if I make, but changing it, the proportions is still gonna make it pretty awkward. I think the only thing I'm really gonna be keeping in this is probably just the front end. Maybe this bumper area. I think I need to refresh everything else. Hmm. I think, okay, looking from there, okay, so this top corner should be looks better now, I think. And then, yeah, I guess we can work with that and see what happens. Uh, okay, this needs changing. So, this is probably easy to source a new gear shifter for this. Anyways, let's focus on the exterior, kind of the basics of the exterior first. Because I think this is a little too pointed. It's kind of, I think I probably elongated this a little too much. But I still want to line this up with this bumper seam. Hmm. Let's see. Because it's trying to get it from the different perspectives, maybe a little awkward. Yeah, so let's look. So I guess we're just gonna focus on this front fascia first. Let's look into. Also, another important distinction is I I also have to consider using new fixtures just because 2 years ago fixtures the type of fixtures we had access to were quite limited compared to now. But okay, so I think for this is supposed to be a side reflector of sorts. And I think I can probably manipulate the shape so it goes from the outside edge, goes along the edge of this reflector and goes down into the side of the bottom vent. Okay, but I don't know what's this doing here. Oh, it's probably because something's clipping into it. This could also, this might, I might be able to also change this out because um, we did get some nice body, like some nice arches that can flow better, that can merge better with some bodies now, like the one I use for my contact executive, the older one. So let's see. Probably gonna decrease the thickness a bit. Hmm. Let's get rid of this for now. How's the overhang doing? Front overhang looks alright, I think. Maybe I can try to make this look taller by just pushing this, making this a little thicker, and then pushing this forward. Oh, right, I forgot it can float like that under certain conditions. Let's Yeah, okay, because it's gonna cut into because of this other fixture, I think. If I expand this out, I think it should clear it. Not quite. Let's narrow this a bit. Okay, yeah, this hood bulge is definitely helping, especially up here at the top edge. But will it look a little awkward from the front or other angles? I think it is a little, isn't it? So let's push this back a bit. Hmm. These lights could be an issue, I think. Because I can't figure out how should I section the internals of this because they seem to be scattered everywhere. Um, let's see if we can run through. Oh, that's a cutout. Okay, so we do have some. Okay, so we do have some insert pieces, but they don't seem to fit. So I think we're gonna get rid of these for now. And then when we rearrange the actual lights, then we can plan around that new location. So there's a probably just gonna be like LED projectors of some sort, or they could just be HIDs, but they're gonna be projectors of some sort, not halogens. So actually let's check if there's maybe like a newer style. Okay, so we do have this. But we also have to take into account the both the indicator and the daytime running lights because on, on that on that design they were kind of intertwined together. I'm gonna look at some references for a moment to see if There's not enough gap in this wheel arch. But it does merge better than the old fixture we were using. Oops. Let me pull an old image of the build for a moment. Screenshots. This was definitely a while ago, so I think. Screenshots. Yeah, but I remember I took quite a bit of photos back then, and these photos were actually a lot larger than the ones I take now, so it's gonna take a while for all of them to load. I might even be in the wrong folder for this to work. It's true. Oh. Ah, here it is. Found it. Okay, so I don't. Yeah, I'm wondering if there's a way to make this image kind of visible on the screen. Let's see if I can do this actually. Let's see. Um, window capture, and things can be this. Ah, there it is. Here's the old build. As you can see, um, well, first off, the molding is quite awkward on this, especially on the side. But as you see, I really like that front, and I think the main factor on this was for the headlights. There are two sets of daytime running lights. So one of them bordered the bottom edge of the headlight projectors, and the other ran along the edge to serve as a bit of a boundary. And then for the indicators, I kind of just meshed. So I kind of jigsawed two indicators in the gaps left by the lower daytime running lights. So that's kind of what I wanted to get. By the way, this picture is taken like, let's check the properties. This picture is taken like over 3 years ago, actually. So, yes, this is definitely one of my older builds in this game. All right, back to this. So for this session, we're probably focused on reworking the front end, especially the headlights. So first of all, I don't remember the headlights being this small, but I think I'll rework them to be larger overall. In this case, as long as the details seem to be okay, it's probably okay if I think it's probably okay if as long if you know you don't have to model every single bit of it, but as long as the big details are there, that's a good start. And they should be the same size. So I will actually focus on one, resizing one, and then just simply copying it for the other one. Maybe elongate it. Still looks a little too bug-eyed, so I can't. What's going on? Okay, I'll space them out a little bit more. I think I'll need to push this up too. So maybe I maybe line this more at the top edge, maybe it's just the bottom. Go. Lines, maybe rotate this. Regardless, this is going to be a more simplified construction compared to actual designs. So let's find some light bars. So it sounds like those light bars seem to not be a thing anymore. At least the ones I had specifically used. But I think there are definitely some that took their place. So I think we should be okay. Nope, probably still want the 2D. Okay, then we'll set another piece and angle it alongside the grill. Okay, let's see if maybe we can minimize the overlap. Okay, then let's turn on the daytime running lights. Oh, this seems to be obscured, I think. Ah, yeah, right, that's just the headlight. So let's turn this into a running light. Oh, there we go. Nice. Okay, that's more like it. And then we will add the bottom part. So I think we can be okay with reusing this fixture. So one thing to note, we don't want this part to be connected. I just want them going take up the length, the size of the reflector, and nothing more. All right. Maybe let me make this transparent for the moment so I can see it better. Okay. Nope. Let's get the angle. Nope. Oh, come on. So these should be bordering the light projectors themselves. So it should be following the general shape. Nope. Oh, come on. This could be an issue. Nope. Oh. Oh, it's angled that way. I could have also. I know it was like that in the original build, though. I don't think it should be. Ideally, it shouldn't be. And if there's more empty space, we can probably just fill them with just the insert blocks that we had used before. This. What? All right. But the more I look at this, the more I'm less convinced about that upper DRL, daytime running light. It just doesn't have the right look to it. Okay, this top edge is probably too thick. We push that further in, and the same can be also said about this one. We can push that. Oh, not selected. Probably push that further into the grill. So maybe half of it instead of the whole thing. And then, oh, right, that won't work like that. All right. Also just narrow this thing. It'll have the same effect. Maybe. All right, there we go. Okay. Now let's, oh, come on. Let's get the indicators. So, So this one we can probably just use the yeah, we can just use the the 2-layer one where um, for example, you can have a clear indicator that flashes amber when being used. So these are very useful. These materials are very useful in general. All right, I think we got that. We're gonna angle this down and then just make it really kind of stubbier. Oh, there we go. So here they did fill up this base. So let's see what happens with that. Oh, how's that a running like already? Indicator, indicator. All right, let's see if this works. Hey, all right. Seems all right at the moment. Yeah, all right. I think that's workable at the moment. So that's the headlights kind of redone for the moment. So maybe let's put the cover back on. All right. Yep. There we go. I think that's the basic headlight. So this is a pretty big. Well, actually, before we say that part's done, I think we can stand to fill in some of the gaps. So they in here, okay, this is called infill, but those are basically blocks that are indented in the set in the body a certain way. So you can still curve them, but at the depth that you want. And then now, the idea is that they just fill up the empty space so it doesn't look unusual or you don't suddenly see the engine through the headlight. So we're gonna just be putting some of these inserts in right now. Uh, 20. All right. like black. All right. All right, got it. Here we go. All right. I think that should be all right. And they'll be all right at the moment. We can look. We maybe refine them later. All right. Let's. Oh, can I reset? Ah, here we go. I think that's the. Oh, let's make the bottom slightly longer. Oh, all right. So let's run through this again. All right, should be all right. Then what I'll do is, I think I'll just get the badge in the front grill. It's actually on that regard, what I'll do about this is steal one from another car. So what I can do here is if there's something and you like a specific implementation of a fixture, what you can do is go to that, click on it, and there should be a thing called copy fixture transform. So that's one of the newer things they added, but it comes very much in handy. And once you go do that, go back, get in, and then find the fixture, so I think that's a badging. Here it is. And then I guess this let's assume it's 3D at the moment. Oh, it's probably 2D, alright. Well, it doesn't matter too much. Okay, I think 2Ds are right here. And actually, I need to flip this color scheme. So this should actually be black. The inside should be white. That's where the badging would go. And the badging has a white background to it. Yep, I think that's placement's good. So we'll get in some 3D fixtures or shapes. Come on. Was this? Alright, and then we'll color it just a red. We've always done. Should be a global color. Yep, there you go. And then along the way, we'll also get some black cubes. I think we need 3 of them. Alright. Now. Alright, let's save it a moment. Go back and steal the other parts of the badge. And then, okay, copy this. Oops, it's probably another 3D. Nope. Okay, I think I'll actually gonna make this 3D. It's because it's probably gonna be easier to try and get the size, the layering done that way. So this should be the thickest of them because this is gonna cover the arrow. Okay. One thing I kind of wish is be able to group fixtures together into a group so that you wouldn't have so you can kind of save these combinations so every time you have a common thing, common fixture group like a badge, you'll be able to just copy, like carry it over, like put it in without having to recreate it from individual pieces. Alright, so make this 3D, paste. As long as it's centered, it should be relatively easy to align. There we go. It's better. Also, one thing to note is, so in 3D fixtures, there's one based off the global axes, which are a common across all of the fixtures, and there's one that's local to it. So it's kind of like the basis is kind of changed depending on if you want it to be in terms of the global or you want it to be in terms of the orientation of the fixture itself. The same thing, but they're off different bases. And you interact with them in different ways. Oh, by the way, so this is made with help from my friend, and this is supposed to be a top of the line track special. So this thing has like, oh, it's broken at the moment, but I think this thing has like at least like 707 horsepower from a 3-liter hybrid inline six. By hybrid, I mean it's kind of electrically boosted by kind of an integrated starter generator. So kind of like a mild hybrid system. And could potentially theoretically also get some electrical assistance in terms of spooling up the turbochargers as early as possible. But obviously, none of these are implemented in the game. So, yeah. But to be fair, the calculations behind them are extremely complicated. So, developers haven't been able, like, these developers haven't quite focused on these yet. All right. There you go. So what we're going to do now is just rotate this. So what you can do is you see this. So this is in the local basis. Oh, but if you change it to actually, it doesn't quite matter at the moment. So if you want to change this green axis, rotate it along the green axis. Well, let's rotate it 90 degrees, I think. I think that'll suffice. We just want them orthogonal to each other. There you go. I think that'll work all right. So yeah, that's the badging for you. And then for this one, so I like this shape, the general shape of this bumper. So it's kind of supposed to line up with. So first, it's gonna line up with this general bottom edge that goes alongside on the bottom of the grown headlights. So it should kind of be cut by the top edge of this vent, bottom vent combination. Alongside that, I have these sections there. So the section between the light and the grill, so goes off, bounces down the middle, and then eventually how I see it is I'll have it lined up so it'll go back, slope down the other way, but it'll link up to it in the middle. And then also I have this grill, I have this line, so kind of like this top edge of the vent still kind of has some continuity running through the whole thing. Another potential side effect that so first it's supposed to make this less empty, though I think I probably will need more work on this to make even this bottom area to be less empty in general. And then furthermore, it might give us opportunities to section out some places to put the fog lights. And this is supposed to be a border, so I don't like this kind of just like digging down the sides. So maybe I'll push down this block just to, oh, please don't. Just to maybe make that border a little thicker. So, all right. Let me check if it can fit an European style plate. Okay, definitely more than all right. So let's actually narrow this a bit. All right. So fog lights. Let's look at some references. That's what we always do in this game. We just look at references to see like if there's any ideas that we really like from the real life references and anything to avoid in particular. So I think the idea is directly not necessary to have fog lights, but let's see. I have to decide whether it's going to be horizontal or vertical. Uh, let's see. Actually, let's first make this the color. Will that be alright? Oh, oops, okay. That's just the border. I don't know, why is this metallic anyways? And I think I can just make this metallic, a black border. Alright, let's see. I'll keep this for now and see if I end up liking it later. A lot of times, how you play this is you just look. Oh, what the? All right. What you do is you just do random ideas that might work, and then think about them for a while when you're not playing this game. and then come back and say whether you liked it or not. Or you can just do it along the fly as you're working on the project. What the? Please don't do this. What? Oh, what the hell? Why is it like this? All right, let's just disable the snap to center. All right. Maybe we can have another one running. Oh, this one will have to be snapped to center. Alrighty then. The UKV runs slightly along over though. Oh, maybe not. Maybe move this down a bit. And snap, and then drag it over. And then it should also be aligned. So alright. Okay, so looking at the references, so I have a Mark 7 Golf GTI, which has them hidden behind the strakes on the side of the vents. And then I have a Type R, which is just one of these vents on the bottom corner of the vents, one of these circle lights on the bottom corner of the vents. So actually, it's something like, I think there's one of the fixtures here that actually mirrors this setup. I think it's this one. No, it's a vent. No, I don't think that would fit here. I guess somewhat like one of these. Uh, and also, I'm still not convinced about this fixtures. Got it. I can't quite have it. Let's take this fixture. Oh, nope. Sorry, gonna be indicator fixture. Let's take that. Maybe line it along the top edge. So just like this. I think as long we can get the bordering, and then maybe that'll serve as our fog light. Now probably need to section this part off with some sort of bar, or in what's it called again? All right, the infill blocks. Oops, I don't want to put a headlight. There we go. This one. All right. I think that'll be all right at the moment. Let's push out the offset a bit, maybe. Lower this. Progress picture, I suppose. I think we're gonna call this. We're gonna stop here at the moment. We got most of the front end rebuilt, so I think that's a good progress for today. It's really late, but before we go, let me. I know one of my longtime followers, actually, one of the early followers, popped in. It's kind of wanted to reminiscence about just the auto beam stuff he used to do, or the early auto beam stuff he did. So we're gonna screw around with beam for just a few minutes, a few moments. So yeah, on that note, I would like to extend a thank you to everyone who's followed me. I definitely very much appreciate your support, and it's kind of very interesting that you be very willing to bear with my monotony and general incompetence. But I've been enjoying it along the way, so it's good that you're also enjoying it. So we're going to repository for a bit, and let's see. Oh, lagging as always. So, okay, I'm gonna show you two cards. So, oh, incredible lag. Yep, honestly quite incredible. So let's go to automation. If it's in a repository, we should be able to find it here. So it was called, oh, oh, didn't search, all right. Oh, this actually looks pretty nice from that image. Let's pop in. Huh, I see. Some fuzzy detailing, but I can see that the basic idea is there. And also, that's a really nice image, especially for an older version of the automation game. But yeah, let's go to my favorite test track, which is the Nürburgring. Um, if this thing will stop freezing every 5 seconds. All right, so let's see. I'm not sure how, because this seems to be an older version of the AutoBoom export. I'm not sure how it would interact with kind of the new Beam versions, because I know over the past few years, kind of the behavior, particularly about tire grip, was changed. So the parameters of the tire, which influences how which influences their traction, were definitely changed. So that would change how they handle. Oh, wow, that's extremely loud. I think this is a four-cylinder. Uh, I didn't actually pay attention. So this is a four-cylinder. Okay, fuel injection. This seems actually looks like a single overhead cam, judging from that valve cover. And I guess this is a race exhaust header and mid-engine. Longitudinal mid-engine rear-wheel drive, I think. Oh. It's let's see if we can run a few laps on this thing. Oh, and it's already very spiky at the limit. It is making a pretty healthy 460 horsepower, although it is turbocharged, so that's a thing. Brakes seem alright, but this corner exit is extremely spiky. Like, it's barely has enough traction to keep all this power under control. Turning seems alright though. It's just the corner exit that gets you. I'd probably need to just be more careful. I'd probably just be more careful with the throttle in general. Oh, jeez. Oh, you can see why it always snaps at the corner exit for me. I'm sure someone with a finer steering input, like a wheel, would fare better. It definitely is seems very agile. It's just not not stable enough for my taste. Also, I think this is a 6-speed dual clutch. Nope. Okay, yep. This is not going too well. This is also extremely laggy. It goes at around 5,500 RPM. So that can also be a factor. Because before the turbocharger's spooling, this thing is essentially making like 120 horsepower, and then suddenly it just spikes up to over 450, and it's still, that power is still increasing right up to the red line. So you know it can definitely put way more if you extended it some more. And I somehow washed out here. Oh. Oh, it does have an interior. Yeah, this is gonna take way more than like 10 minutes, I think. Tell it's kind of quite twitchy at a bit of my inputs, so. Oh god. I'm gonna still try and finish a lap of this, but I'm just gonna have to keep resetting and on the scene of the crash. Come on, stop snapping. Nope, nope. Oh, why did I break here? Oh, jeez. Let me reset. I think I wrecked my alignment somehow. The composure seems to be alright though. Doesn't seem to be easy to unsettle with random bombs. This thing's also just pretty fast in general too. Oh no! Oh! Oh god. Alrighty then. Yeah, this initial pickup is really bad. Oh, why did I do this? Oh, and I didn't save it. This thing has... Yeah, that's a... I guess that's just what happens with cars with very short wheelbase and very aggressive tuning. Oh, you can switch to the carousel. Oh! No. Okay, I think well, that's not the street. We're about to. Well, that didn't work. Come on. God, I can't even dread this in a straight line. It's just that spiky for me. Oh! Nope, nope. Oh, jeez. Oh, you. Well, that went well. Right? Yep, I think that's his lap. Oh gosh. That was a very tiring to drive actually, because just all of the little corrections that you need to make like every microsecond. By contrast, okay, so let's show you by contrast one of my favorite Autobahn cars in terms of handling. This one was created by two of my friends and who also provided the basic tuning. The main thing I did was just J-beam it. So this is a compact executive sedan, and this is sport variant with a 280 horsepower 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. And to me, this is the standard of how street cars should handle. So this should do the Nürburgring like no problem. So you see, yeah, the inputs are much more smoother. And it has much better stability. But to be fair, it's just really just due to the nature of the cars and how it drives. Sometimes it just works better with certain types of cars. And also, just the trade-off is, yeah, this thing's way slower, but here I'm okay with that. As long as it has good consistent speed, so I can keep pushing without hesitation. And the good thing about this car, right? So it's not like extremely stiff, so it'll have good composure over pretty uneven tracks like the Nürburgring. Oops. Oh. Wow, I said that. Wow, okay, I jinxed myself. You can tell, so when you turn the corner, it doesn't just plow through, it's actually quite willing to rotate. Ultimately, you're able to kind of modulate that with both your steering and your throttle inputs. So yeah, this is a car I'm hoping can get on the repository. And this overdrive allows it to just punch out the corner exits really nicely. Oh, understeer. Oh, come on. Turn. Thanks. You see how much I can just floor this through a section like this. It's just that stable at high speed. Oh, no! Oh, jeez. That's some bad understeer from here. If I just wasn't being careful at all. Entering the carousel. Come on, dropping it. Oh god. Right a break here. Fully wrecked the balance. Yep, and my alignment. Oh! Nope! Nope! Oops. There we go. Got it. Alright. Yeah. That's the lap. So I think, yeah, we're gonna call it a day for this session. Thank you to everyone who came. And thank you to everyone who has supported me over the past 2 years. It is very much appreciated. So yeah, let's find a raid targets. Oh, okay. So I've been watching this. So the person we're raiding has been doing a bit of one of those marathons, but The interesting thing is, well, it's a bit of a theme for this month. So, in a maybe I'll just pop in at this moment. So yeah, let's see if this works. Oh, this work. All right, let's open it. All right, I think we're ready. See you in a while. Well, it'll be a while. I have break coming up, so I won't really be available next week. So probably in 2 weeks. Um, yeah, 2 weeks. So next Friday. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed and have a good day. And